What it do, what it do? It's your boy Andre Sproul, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Middle of the Fence podcast. As I like to say, time is the most valuable thing on this earth because we can spend it, we can't make it back. So as always, thank you for your time. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Yami Soriano. How are we doing today?
Hi, Dre. Hi, everyone at home or in your car, clean up your house.
So before we get into the interview, just want to give a more of a background about Yami. She is not just a friend; she's a best friend, family member. Basically, we started working together. In 2018?
Yeah. Oh my God, we were babies.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's already been like 6 years, which is like so
Insane.
hard to fathom, and time flies, and a lot has happened since then, obviously.
Right. Work friends can't be friends out of work lives.
I'm with you on that. So, all right. So let's just dive into some of the questions. So we're gonna tell the audience just a little bit about your upbringing and the cultural aspect, some advice that you can give to the people.
The girls.
And
I
things
want
like
to
that.
clock you off the tape.
I know that you're ready, so let's just get right into it.
I'm ready. I'm with you, Jay.
All right. So, can you describe your upbringing and what side of the fence you grew up on, whether it was the Affluent Acres or the tough terrain side, and just delve into about the kind of household that you grew up in and things like that. So like from like the very start.
Okay, beautiful. First of all, tough terrain, cute, very big. Second of all, so I grew up in East Orange. Anyone from New Jersey knows that's Essex County, and if you grew up in Essex County, you know that's the ghetto. I feel like everyone wants to be from the ghetto. Like, no shade to the suburban kids. I feel like suburban kids were always looking for like that danger, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But being from East Orange, being from this county, there's nothing cute in the danger because you're actually in the danger. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a very African American community, in a very Dominican household. So it was very loud. Right, you know, ghetto, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my ghetto guys. Yeah, and it was very loud, but it was very loving. Full of like trials and tribulations. I seen my parents like struggle a lot, you know, the basics, sometimes you go without heat, sometimes it just happens like that sometimes, but my house had a lot of love. Like my house was the house that everybody went to eat, because my mother always like instilled in us like it doesn't matter like how much money you have or what type of person, like nobody should ever be hungry. It doesn't matter like if they're, you know, small, it doesn't matter. But giving somebody a plate of food is like the bare minimum. So everyone, like my house was always the party house. My friends would always come to my house after school, like.
And with the food portion, with how great your mom cooks.
Right, you know what I'm saying? The body is tea for a reason.
So I wanted to just piggyback off of the fact that you mentioned the household that you grew up in, and that you actually had both parents.
I did have both parents
growing up. So do you feel that was an advantage for you?
Because, oh my God, I'm so glad you're asking this question.
Because on the tough terrain side, you often see single parent households where like with like myself, it was just mostly like my mom, but. I was living with, you know, typical Spanish family, the grandma
everybody
and
was
grandpa,
in that joint, right?
Uncle, cousins, siblings, you know. So can you just like expand a little further on having both parents while growing up on the tough terrain side?
I got you. So in my house, in a typical Spanish household. So at one point, it was me, my father, my brother, my uncle who came from DR, my grandma, and his two kids who was all sleeping in one house. And it's not like my house didn't have no upstairs, you know what I'm saying? It was 2 to 3 rooms. The rooms was that big. And, you know, just find somewhere to sleep. Y'all be all right, which is fair. Y'all, ustedes van a estar bien. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? And Dominicans, by the way, we're black. Just so we're clear on that conversation. We're black, but our ethnicity is of Spanish descent. Anyway, so in a Spanish household, I always said that the Caribbean father he's there, right? But it's not like, I feel like they don't make like a very like emotional effort to get to know you, you know what I'm saying? I felt like majority of the time that my father would talk to me, he would just talk to me because my mother was telling him to reprimand me. And I did learn 2 solid things from my father, that if a man wants a girlfriend, he should have money, which clock it, dad. Clock it, like, that's true. And he also told me that men should like do manly things like take out the trash, change your tire, go get you an oil change, which he's not wrong. Right. I just feel like my dad, as most Caribbean fathers, didn't, at least I'm going to talk from my Caribbean father, because I've seen some Caribbean fathers, shout out to y'all, y'all be, like, I find it weird that females, like, daughters, like, have lunch with their dads. Like, and not in a hating way, and like a, wow, that's like really bizarre. Like, what do y'all talk about? Yeah,
like from the perspective of having a father that's emotionally available for you.
Right, like, I don't, like, and I love my father, not to take anything away from, you know, I did, but he just didn't have that, like, mental and, like, like, emotional capacity to, like, you know, form anything with me. Like, I don't look for much of him. My mom, she is the best. She's a saint. Very overbearing. Very overbearing.
Like most mothers can be.
Like most mothers.
Most mothers can be.
Yeah. You know how to, like, people, like some people, moms take a hint. Like, my mom will see the hint and walk right around it. And so to say that, I always tell people that it's not all that, like, to grow up in a 2-parent household. Like, in order to be in a 2-parent household, I feel like both parties have to, you know, have
pull
to
like their weight.
Exactly. Pull their weight. That's a good term for it. Pull their weight, but also, like, almost want to be there. Like, I always said from watching my ustedes no hablan inglés, so don't be watching this. But I don't think, like, my parents should have, they weren't, like, meant for each other. Like, I think they were meant to, like, be here and then make us and then, like, go their separate ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should have had their both separate lives. I think they would have been more progressive and more conducive to our environment if they did not coexist together.
That's very interesting, because I think that it's a generational thing. Maybe. that it can be, where it's like, even if it's like, okay, you know what, maybe, because I personally saw it with some of the relationships in my life, you know, where like I said, I grew up with my mom and her side of the family, but her and my dad broke up after being together for a long time, and they were just boyfriend and girlfriend. But when I looked at my grandparents, because I grew up with both sets of grandparents for most of my life.
I only had one.
Yeah, up until my grandfather passed away in 2017.
As much shout out to you. You're not some bomb ass
R.I.P.
That dude's the man. I didn't meet him, and I know that.
But yeah, so, you know, with their generation and just, I guess, other relationships with older people, one of the things that I've noticed is that it's like, hey, maybe they shouldn't be together, but they tend to just stick it out, because it's like, okay, well, we're already married and we've already been doing this for such a long time. So do you think that like your parents, in a way, like, fall into that type of,
I mean, that's very typical for Dominican people. In rarity see people's parents like I always said that I think it was like in the past 2 years I've been to like 6 weddings, but in the past 2 years is the first time I've been to a wedding, because when I was growing up, everyone's already married. Mi madrina, mi tía, todo mi tío, todo el mundo ya estaba casado. So, you know, I've never been to a wedding because everyone was just together, and people getting a divorce in my family is like taboo, but you know, they came from DR like that. Well, they came here, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
but it was instilled in them, like, you're getting married, and that's pretty much it. And I even told my mom, I'd be like, girl, you cute. Like, I don't know what you talk about. Like, I'd be like, girl, you about to find you a police officer, somebody cute, you know. Even, I was like, even date a white man. I did. I said, why not? They love
keep
them.
the options open.
Keep the options
Keep the
open.
options
They
open.
love them people that could cook because y'all know y'all can't cook.
Yeah.
Right. So, I even told my mom, like, open a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? She's just like, I don't know. You know how the older generation, they just very comfortable in what they know. They don't like what they don't know. Mm-hmm. And I guess, that's why our generations came here, so we could know something different than that.
I feel like that generation is mostly like, it is what it is, and they'll just keep staying in just like the same situations or same jobs, no matter how much it like weighs on them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and things like that. And
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I was just gonna just ask that, what were some of the most common challenges that you faced like growing up? I mean, you kind of like touched on like the typical ones, like the financial aspect and things like that. What would you say were when you like look back and think about your childhood, some of like the biggest challenges that like you felt that you had to face with your circumstances and where you grew up?
I was right before I almost cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Right before I was about to say that it's almost like I'm happy I got older. I mean, getting old sucks, boo.
But adult life.
The adult life is ghetto as fuck.
Very ghetto.
Very fucking ghetto here. 0 out of 10 would recommend. This shit's ghetto. I was about to say, like, I'm almost glad I got older because growing up back now, like, I can only imagine, like, you with somebody you don't like, and then you at that job you don't fucking like, and then you call my bitch ass and tell me to take something out the freezer and I didn't fucking do it.
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
like, oh my God, I could fucking kill you. You fucking bitch. Like, why would you not do that? Like, it's just awful having, especially having a baby now. Like, I can see where my mom and my dad took like the left turn with me sometimes. I mean, even though I came out pretty good. But I can see where it took the left turn for me. And looking back at that, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. Like, and I feel like, before I answer your question, I feel like, we need to, like, remember, because I feel like it doesn't register with adults, especially with, like, all this, like, oh, your feelings are valid nonsense. Like, I just feel like we don't get, like, our parents were just, like, kids. Well, I don't know about other people's kids, but
so what age did your parents start having like your siblings?
Right.
And
so
yourself?
They had my brother when they were 21, and then she had me at 29. Right. So at 21, jack shit. I couldn't tell you what I was doing at 21. Nothing
I can tell you what I was doing at 21. 21.
Nothing productive.
Nothing productive.
Nothing good.
I was if there was a local bar or like club, I was checking it out all over New Jersey. It didn't matter.
Yes.
Like up north central.
Yes, Barcode.
Like,
count me in.
Down the shore, anywhere.
Yes, I couldn't even fathom. And she was the only pregnant. She was pregnant and married. So and in a new country. So my he nothing. She just, and then by the time she had me, she's almost 30. I'm almost 30 and yikes again.
I'm with you there, girl.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you there.
Yikes again. Like, I feel like I kind of got it figured out, but not enough, I just had a baby, so, like, I guess.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things, I'm a certified yapper. If you got to tell me to reel it in, reel it in.
Trust me, I know it's good.
A lot of the challenges I faced was I was not black enough for the Spanish people. Te estoy acechando. And I was not Spanish enough for the Spanish people. So I wasn't black enough for the black kids, and I wasn't Spanish enough for the Spanish kids. Because my whole life, people was like, you're Dominican? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, you don't look like it. And I should be like, should I put a plátano on my fucking forehead? Like, what are you looking for here?
And I just wanted to add, like, it's actually very interesting that you brought that up because it was one of the things that I was thinking of, where it was like, for me personally, I can relate being very, very light-skinned. For those that are watching, I look very Dominican, Puerto Rican, black and white. Those are like the main three. I met him. I said, y'all sure you're not Dominican.
But,
I felt like because I grew up on the tough terrain side and the Affluent Acres side, I feel like it was like kind of like the same thing where it was like, not black enough for the black kids and not white enough for the white kids.
Exactly.
So, would you touch more on like the preconceived notions or the perceptions that people had of you just because of your skin tone, and then when they find out that you're Dominican, it's like, oh my gosh,
oh my God,
what?
like
You wanna,
like a
touch
shiny
on that?
toy, yeah.
Or if you have like a specific story that comes to mind with that.
I was about to go off, like, so. Kara, bear in mind, like, this is between the ages of like 5 and like 12. So it's like I'm trying to figure out like what's going on in my head, but like you can't tell anybody that because it's like boohoo, first world problems. So I get to school and everybody's like, wow, you have such nice pretty hair, like wow, da 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 da. And then they're like, you black? And I was like, no, I'm Dominican, you know. I'm like, no, I'm Dominican. And they be like, yeah, that explains the hair. And then they come over, and you know how people find it inappropriate to touch like an afro and stuff like that.
My gosh.
That's how I felt. I used to be like,
trust me, the kids on the Affluent Acres side would want to touch my hair all the time.
Yeah, and I'd be like, this a little.
All the time.
I'd be like, this a little. I was like, but okay, like
this
is a compliment. Yeah.
Like word to Cardi B.
Word to Cardi. And Cardi, I just want to let you know, if at some point you watch this, 7 years without dropping off is absolutely fucking ridiculous for some man. I just want you to know it's absolutely ridiculous. I love you, girl. I just want to touch base on that. That's absolutely ridiculous. But it always felt like a shiny new toy, and I never really like fit in anywhere. The teacher would call my house all the time, and I would get in trouble because she said I talked too much. But I'm trying to figure out who I was talking to because I didn't have that many friends.
Talking too much? Come on now.
Imposible.
No lo puedo creer.
¿Qué es esto? Wow. And I would just talk. But I never really had a people will hear it now, but like in school I wasn't popular because like I didn't really know who I was, but like I was very like unapologetic about it. I'd be like, okay, like I'm loud. My mom's loud, like boo-hoo. And I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. And being that, like I said, I wasn't Spanish enough for this. Like the Spanish people had their own like clique or whatever, and I used to be like, y'all look corny. Like, and I also don't like, as an Aries, I don't like being not liked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to try to fit in. I'm definitely not going to be anywhere that I feel unwanted.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And then the popular people who I felt like I should hang out with, I used to be like, y'all corny too. Like, y'all not nice. Like, and it wasn't until I got out of high school and like met different people, they were like, wow, you're so cool, you're really nice. And I was like, are y'all talking about me? Like, it took a minute to register because I really didn't understand my sense of self, because everybody was like, you know when you're younger, they're like, you need to find a purpose. And I'm like, yeah, yapping.
And like I can relate to that because it's like, as a child, especially, child, like early teenage years, you're trying to see like what crowd that you like fit in with, and
but you go
like
home
that.
and watch 106 in Park, but then you could also watch MTV Tres.
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't get that. They're like, what's MTV Tres? And I was like, why don't you watch MTV Tres? But it's like, oh, you don't get it. Like, like it's almost like you're fighting with like your inner exterior. Like, is this cool? And if this isn't cool, like, should I just stop it completely? But it's like, you can't stop it completely. Like, this is what you vibe with. Like, that's you know what I'm saying? You hear it outside, like, that's what you resonate with,
And for me personally, to, what made me realize, like, oh, what is it that, even though I had trouble, finding, like, what group that I fit in, due to my, like, multiracial background and where I grew up versus where I went to school. It didn't hit me until I got older that I was like, wow, the kids that I'm still friends with to this day, which I'm very fortunate that I went to middle school and high school with, the similarities is that despite them growing up on the Affluent Acres side, they were raised similar as far as like their moms like not playing.
Right.
That was like number
Mom
one.
don't play
I
that.
noticed that like with all my friends, like their moms did not play first and foremost.
Birds of a feather.
But as I got older, like that's something that I personally realized where it was like, oh wow, you know, like the reason why I ended up fitting in with the kids that I did was because we were actually raised similar. And what I mean by that is, aside from having moms that don't play, that's like a primary factor. You know my mom, so you know it's good, you know.
Right, this thing don't
play. She does not. And but they had the same values, you know, as far
core
as
values, exactly.
Yeah, as far as like, despite what they have, you know, they still treat other people with kindness and respect, respect, you know, and that's something that I value, you know, working hard and being humble, you know, all those things that are easy to say and, you know, act like we do, but it's actually very hard to live and practice that, you know. So it's like you really don't find a place to fit in until you get older and grow in that confidence. And speaking of confidence, you know, when people meet you now, maybe like back in the day from what you said, like you wouldn't even know, you know. So would you say there was like a turning point that happened where like that shift of confidence happened? Because I just wanted to like talk about that, because that's something that I personally had to go through as well because of like the circumstances and things like that growing up. So you want to expand more on that, about that shift in confidence to where you're at now?
Sidebar, I wanted a Spanish friend so bad. So bad. I was like, I want somebody to listen to reggaeton with. Anyway, the shift in confidence. So I've been this big, like I've been pretty chubby my whole life. I just always, you know, mommy making arroz con pollo y habichuela otro día at some point is gonna get to that. And I realized, like, you know, now that I'm older, you know, when people just got them genes, like we just have like them genes where like you look at bread and you just gain weight. Like that's just what it is. That's also another reason why I got teased a lot in school. I also got teased a lot in school because, you know, I was always the biggest one in the class. Always. And then I think this is a very embarrassing story. To be this honest on somebody's podcast is crazy. But I'm gonna be honest because it's you.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you real bad. Okay. When I was 14, I was going to summer school because I hate science. BTW. I hate science. And so I was going to summer school, and then one day, it's going to be TMI, but I couldn't poop because it hurt so bad. Okay? It hurt so bad to poop. No lie. This is a true story. Okay? It hurt so bad. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why? So then, right, this is in the middle of summer school, so I have to walk to school every day, like the bearing heat. Like, okay. And then, I realized, like, I was like, well, if I stop eating, like, I'll probably just stop pooping. Producer Steve, don't judge me, right? So I would eat once a day, right? I would eat whatever my grandma cooked, probably a snack from the corner store, an icy in Arizona, like, and water. That's it, right? But it wouldn't stop, right? So one day, in summer school, you can't miss a day or you be kicked out. So my mom was home one day, and I was like, Mom, I can't go to school. She was like, why? I was like, my butt hurts. Right? And I didn't tell her for so long because anybody who's Dominican knows that your mom, well, my mom always called me a hoe because she was like, you got all these little boys coming around on this porch, but I really never did anything. I wasn't a hoe. I would just, you know, they thought I was cute and I would flirt with them or whatever. Yeah. But she always called me a hoe. So I thought that if I told her that my butt hurts, I thought that I was scared that she would be like, are you doing butt stuff with boys? And I'd be like, oh my God. Right. Mind you, this is my 14, like, pubescent brain. Like, instead of just telling my mom, like, yeah, bro, like, something's going on back there. Like, I really held out for, like, at least 6 weeks. And then I went to the doctor, and he was like, you got hemorrhoids. And I was like, what the fuck is a hemorrhoid? Yeah, but I had that. And that summer, from not eating, I got a little slim thick. I didn't get too slim, right? But I got slim thick.
Okay.
Right? And I looked at him and I said,
who is that?
Right.
He said, who is that?
Right. I was like, who her? Like, I was putting on stuff. I was like, I'm jacking it. You know, unfortunately, Dominican mothers also, when you get smaller, they treat you nicer. It's unfortunate, but true. But that's what happened. So I got confident. I was like, ooh, I'm about to put that. And I did my hair one day. I was like, you don't look too bad, but you can get your hair done. And then everyone always told me I was pretty. But, you know, con Dominicano, it's always a backhanded compliment. They'd be like, oh my God, you'd be so much prettier if you were smaller. You'd be like, that's not a compliment.
Or you're pretty for a big girl, or
you're
something.
You're pretty for a big girl. Or that's like, you're so pretty for that skin tone. And you'd be like,
yeah, like you can leave the second half out of it and just keep the pretty part. Like, what's wrong with that?
Would have been sufficient.
Exactly.
You know? Exactly. And oh my God, don't do that. And then once I realized that, once I got a doobie and I put it the fuck, and then I started getting some style. You know what I'm saying? So my mama can't dress, but my daddy can. Shout out to you, daddy. But my daddy can. So he, you know, once I started like figuring I got a style, and the face was never going nowhere.
Come on now.
Boom, bam. That was it. That was it for me. And I think that's what I want. Whoever's listening to this, girls, especially men, y'all got your own crowd. I'm one. Once you realize that face is tea, and you're automatically a good person, things are going to flock to you anyway. You know what I'm saying? I always knew I was a good person. And I know I'm a good person because, you know, our moms instilled good values in us. You know, it wasn't like people always like gravitated to me. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, comes to the territory.
Yeah. And I was just going to add, you know, like for me personally, you know, I felt like my confidence issues were very deep, because I'm a deep kind of guy.
You're a Taurus. You know
I am a Taurus. I'm a very deep kind of guy.
Yeah. Don't
Newsflash.
Something.
But I noticed that my lack of confidence was coming from, like, being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Same.
Because I was thinking, if I'm getting, you know, really good grades in school, when I get older and getting, like, this kind of job and, you know, pursuing basketball the way that, like, my family wanted to and things like that, you know. Like, although I was, you know, hitting milestones and goals and, you know, it's not like people, like, weren't interested in me and things like that, you know. But I was just, like, so focused on the people pleasing part that it's like, okay, like what
about me?
I don't want to put time towards that, but then it's like what about me? So I came to that realization, I would say, like 3 years ago.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years ago.
That's so like recent.
It's very recent. Yeah. So, you know, and my confidence, I felt like always came in spurts where it was like, there was moments where I felt confident, top of the world, and then other days it was like, you know, I was just mentally beating myself up and in my head and overthinking, you know. But the confidence wasn't something that I felt or believed. You know,
it was like you were kind of like faking it.
Exactly.
You were like faking it until you. I always tell people that I talk fake. So, girl, I am a fake it till you make it ass, girl.
But confidence can take on different forms. Yes. You know, and it's like confidence can stem from the fact that, you know, you were insecure about something, you know, and that's how you show your confidence. Or, you know, with where I'm at now, like my confidence comes from the fact that, if you follow me on Instagram, then you know I wake up every morning and hit the gym and do stuff for like myself.
Girl, he not lying either. If you are hearing this or watching, I swear to God, so he don't post every day, but the days he do post, it's the same time, like 5:57. I never seen nothing like. He like, yeah, we out here cold, hot, lukewarm. The boy, he not lying. You know how people get up there and lie. My friend is not lying. He be outside working.
Thank you.
Bored.
Thank you so much. And yeah, so I feel like for me, like that's where my confidence has come from, where it's like those forms of self-discipline. Obviously, it's not like my alarm goes off at 5:30 and I jump out of bed like, all right, I'm ready to work out today.
Running outside in the car, let's go.
Like today, it was 20-something degrees when I woke up, and I was like, oh man, like these Arc blankets just want me to just stay in this bed, you know. But you know, again, like because confidence takes on different forms, you know. For me personally, showing up for myself in the morning, trying my best at work, and then after work, just making sure that I'm doing like routine stuff to like continue taking care of myself and prioritizing
Earth
sleep.
signs need routine.
Yeah, and stability is big for us.
Very
big time.
Very big
time.
Mm-hmm.
So, wanted to ask you for the Affluent Acres side. Yeah, sure.
Piggyback off what you said.
Yeah,
I just
sure.
want to say that that's a beautiful testament to taking everything day by day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the generations coming up, and like most of our generation are just a lot like focused on like what we're gonna be, or what can we affect, or what can we not affect if we do something in the future, whatever the case may be. And you building your confidence, you finding the way to build your confidence to the point where it sticks and you believe it, is a beautiful testament to, just take it day by day. Like, if you can't figure out tomorrow, if you can't figure out the next week, if you can't figure out the next month, you know what I'm saying? Take it day by day. And it goes building, and eventually you figure it out. Like, that's awesome.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And yeah, because I don't know, like the little nugget that I would share is that the past is the past, so you can't undo it. All you can do is learn and grow from it. And then your future is a direct result of the words you say, the thoughts you think, the actions that you take, and how you handle your emotions each and every single day.
A friend clock, Joe.
Easier said than done, obviously.
Right.
But,
Right.
If you just break it down to maximizing the present moment each and every day, the future takes care of itself, and be accountable for your past.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much again.
Awesome.
So, did you ever interact with or visit places on the Affluent Acres side growing up? And if so, what were those experiences like for you? And if you did you ever feel the need to adapt or change who you were because you were outside of your normal environment?
Okay, so that's a great question. So I was very blessed in the sense that when I was younger, I latched on to singing. So when in elementary school, once I figured out like I had a talent, I had a nice music teacher who would take me to like events and like do concerts and stuff like that. And once my mom figured out I had a niche with my brother, she let him go to all the ghetto schools. Sorry, R.I.P. Juan, sorry. She let him go to all the ghetto schools. And she put me in performing arts schools, right? And in middle school and in high school, I was in performing arts school. So I always went to the ghetto, but I was always trained classically in how to sing in music. Mm-hmm. So, we would go to concerts, we would take trips and stuff like that. So I always seen like a different side than just school, you know what I'm saying? My high school did a lot of plays, like great directed, like spent a lot of time on the plays. Also, since I didn't go to school like in an affluent side, but my parents are Dominican, so my parents be out. Like, I've been to Disney World too many times. I've been to DR too many times. I went to Florida, been out of the country. Went to Mexico. I haven't been, like I said, how people say, in the four corners of New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? I've been outside. I've been places. I've never felt the need to be anything other than myself, because I'm usually on vacation when I go on to. But I will say that I haven't been, like, most of the time, until I've been able to take myself, like, whatever fancy places I go to is fine. But I do say that I'm happy that my parents took me places. So I know a lot of adults that haven't gone anywhere, haven't done anything, like, too special. I don't like the way this looks. They haven't done anything, like, too special. And I feel like it stunts them as a person, you know what I'm saying, to not go anywhere or not see any different cultures. I feel like that sculpted a lot of the person that I was. And also, like I said, being in a musical theater, like, high school background and stuff like that, I knew, like, how to be in a professional setting almost. Like, I feel like it really set me up to, feel comfortable in wearing dress slacks in a nice button shirt, you know what I'm saying? And I know the difference of when it's time to be serious and when it's time to play, and I know how to come correct, as opposed to I feel like it takes a lot of people, like, a lot of time to figure figured out and discernment. So on the Affluent Acres side, I don't want to say Affluent Acres would be going on vacation and seeing, but I feel like that is like seeing the world in a different way than you see. You know, going to DR, my mom, we would stay at my grandmama's house, and, you know, that's the jungla, you know what I'm saying? That's the jungle. That's concrete. People sleeping in concrete, you know, houses and stuff like that.
Not the resort types that,
no,
like,
not the resort. Yeah. Like, at my grandmama's house, like Ocormando on the corner. Yeah, like DR. Like, kids running around with no shoes and, you know, babies walking around with no diapers. And it made me appreciate life more. But then we will also go to the resort and stay in, like, a 5-star resort and have fun and be in the pool, be in the sun and stuff like that. I know how to plan trips, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's why a lot of men don't know how to plan dates, because they can't plan. They never been on a vacation. They can't plan a vacation. Can't plan a date.
I never thought about it from that perspective, but I mean, it's definitely something to think about.
You know,
definitely something to think about.
Right, exactly. So I do feel like I never felt like I had to change myself, but it's because I was prepped in a really, I think, a great way.
That's awesome. And to go even further with it, you mentioned earlier that you have a child now. Shout out to your son.
Hey,
he is adorable. He's adorable.
Disgusting.
Chill,
it's
cute.
Disgusting.
He is going to be the absolute man.
A Mac Daddy.
So
he's also a Taurus. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out. So with the stuff that you just touched on, and now that you have a son that is in this world, that you are going to be responsible for raising and bringing up and things like that.
Oh my God, so much pressure.
Have you thought about, you know, because you mentioned how traveling, despite growing up on the tough terrain side, how it opened up your perspective and things like that. Is that a way that...
I just got it, but that's so cute. So cute.
Would you say you plan on doing the same thing, like same exact thing, or would you do things a little differently? Obviously, you know, when you are a parent, you want to do better than what your parents did.
Right.
But would you feel like you would take that same like path as far as like making sure that he travels and see the world and other parts of the country as much as you did, or is there like another, you know, avenue that you would want to take with him?
Yeah, I just want to say I also went to went to like Donny Park and like Sesame Place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I do heavily plan on traveling with my son. I don't want some little girl or boy, whatever he's into. I don't want anyone to come up to him and take him to Miami and be like, "Oh my God, what in the world?" Like, I don't want that. And I want him to be well versed and well cultured and understand. I have to take him to DR, because in DR that's how I learn. Like, I think that's why I don't want to say humble. That's a terrible word. It's a terrible word. I want him to appreciate what he has. Even if he doesn't have a lot, he will appreciate what he does have. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you have your family, love, and a warm place to stay, you know what I'm saying? The world ain't that bad. I used to tell everybody when I was 16, I used to say that they used to be like, "How are you?" I'd be like, life could be worse. I could be tied up in somebody's basement. And they used to be like, "That's morbid." Is it though? Because I really could be locked up in someone's basement. It's happened.
And these days, I mean,
it's very
anything is possible.
Exactly.
On both sides of the fence.
On both sides of the fence. Especially on that side of the fence. With the little nice houses, especially on that side of the fence. Fuck. But I said, yes, I will travel my son everywhere. Dominican mothers are very emotionally, so I got the emotional intelligence side down. So I think he's going to be just fine. I plan on taking him everywhere, showing him everything, the slums of different countries that aren't like, this one. And I also plan on showing him nice things, because I think that's the problem. People don't show, I was just thinking about this the other day. It's crazy. I was saying that when you live in the ghetto most of the time and you don't see anything except the ghetto, it's very easy to be comfortable in its ghetto bubble. Not like that, but on the poor side, it's very easy to stay. It's comfortable. You know what it is. You don't have to reach for anything else, because no one else is reaching for anything else, you know what I'm saying? So there's no expectation. You're not failing anyone, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a big expectation.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that how it's like you have the generations that grew up in there. The grandma and grandpa lived there. Mom and dad, you know, and your siblings.
You wouldn't aspire to do anything?
Yeah, but then on the flip side, you see it on the Affluent Acres side as well, where you have people that have lived in an Affluent Acres type of community for generations. So it's like that's all they know and never have really been able to venture outside of that. And even if they do travel, which most of them do, obviously, is usually like resorts and like the best of the best, you know. So it's like you know, there are a good number that I feel like from my interactions that, you know, never really interacted with someone who grew up vastly different than that, you know, and because of that they may not have as much of like an appreciation for what they have. But
it's almost like an expectation, like why wouldn't I have that?
Yeah. But, you know, to expose your son to all of that is very critical, because although my family, because they were financially sacrificing to send us to the private school on the Affluent Acres side, we didn't get to travel much, but just the everyday of, you know, living in Orange and then, you know, going to
that's
school
almost like going to DR and then coming back. County,
every day was like that. You know, every day, like you just saw, it's like you wake up, you know, and then you go to a school, like, and in a world that's different from where you live, and then when you come back home from school, it's like it's back to reality,
back to the getter,
like real life, you know. So it works I feel like in the same tandem in the same way, but like, you know, but it's still different in like its own way.
Look, struggling builds character. I believe that. That's all I'm saying. Like, people who don't struggle, y'all be having nothing to talk about. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't want my baby to struggle. We're not going to struggle. I'm just saying, like, you got to show them something other than peaches and rainbows.
Yeah.
Peaches and rainbows don't build no good people. You know what I'm saying?
Would you say that, like, that's the biggest advantage of growing up on the tough terrain side, is the fact that you are faced with so much adversity since, like, childhood, that you just are more resilient and able to overcome more?
You have no choice but to win. And that's just a fact. That's why I said people who, they even said, I was watching a TikTok and they said people from suburbia they're weird. They've said that. I've seen that. Just in case somebody wants to clock my teeth, I've seen that. And like there's no gull in them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no like I need to do it. You know what I mean? Like shout out to my best friend from high school. We're still friends. She grew up, you know, in a very, very tough household and stuff like that. Of her family, she's the only one I've seen to go to college and stuff like that. But the moral of the story is, I think we became friends because I met her whole family. She has like 14 brothers and sisters.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And shout out to them too. Love them. But like she always had this, like, we've always had in common, like, we refuse to be a statistic. Like, I won't be a statistic. Yep. I will not. That's just
exactly
be
like what we said growing up all the time.
I refuse to be like a bum bitch who has like absolutely nothing to offer to the world. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, this is of course us when we're teenagers. Like, I can't wait to have a 9-to-5 and make my own money.
I can't wait to be older. I want to go back to being a teenager and only have to worry about school and grades. And
or at least
like
not
that.
Tell my younger self, like, you don't want a 9-to-5. You want to run your own company. Or, you know what I'm saying, you want to have something that's flexible. You don't want a 9-to-5, but now we know better. But the more of the stories, I think that we became best friends because we had that big similarity. Like, we won't fail. Like, we used to tell each other, like, what's your deepest fear? And we used to be like, to fail. Period. Like, that's it. To fail at life. To fail life. Because you can. Yeah. You can fail.
Yeah, because we all have...
You can get a grade, and it can be an F.
We all have a, you know, purpose for why we're here on Earth, and I really believe in that. And it's like, it's up to you to, you know, follow that path as best you can. And obviously, like, it's not like, hey, here's a guide for how to live your life. Like, no one has that. Obviously, if not, we would all be rich and successful and be living life, traveling wherever we want, first class, private jet. Okay. I mean, it's still possible. We got time, so... I mean, we're manifesting it.
Hello.
It's happening.
It's going to happen.
We've spoken about it too much for it not to happen and manifest in the physical world. But so now that we've touched on both sides of the fence, what advice would you give to someone currently growing up on either side of the fence? Like, just advice, like, in general, like regardless of what side of the fence that they grew up on.
If you're listening to this, you have to believe and see yourself in that better circumstance. You have to want it, and you have to believe that you deserve it. If you don't believe that you deserve it, it will not come to you. I believe in manifestation. I believe in, the good karmics of the universe. And everything will come to you if as long as you're a good person and you stand 10 toes down on what you believe in. But you got to be street smart. You know what I'm saying? You can't just walk into any room. You got to analyze the room. You have to, unfortunately, be because of your color, and that's okay. You got to be smarter than everybody near you. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not, get with the people who are, but don't be with them because you want something. Be with them because you're a good person, they're a good person, and y'all jones align. You know what I'm saying? But to have a better life, you have to believe that you deserve it, I feel like a lot of people are unworthy. And also, to piggyback off that, please, please, please find your purpose. There's so many people wandering around here aimless that don't know their purpose, and you feel like something's always missing from your life. You know what I'm saying? You're here for a reason. Figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Before it's too late.
That's it. And, to bring it all home, whether you're in your 20s and life is whooping your fucking ass.
Whooping your ass.
Or you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s later in life, it doesn't matter. I feel like, personally, it's never too late to find your purpose, as long as you find it, because at the end of the day, we all have an expiration date, and when that time comes, we can't take back. You either follow the path and make shit happen, and you can sit back and be like, you know what, I lived a fulfilled and joyous life, or you live a life full of regrets. And who wants to live a life full of regrets? I know you don't. I know I don't.
Regret is a wasted emotion.
So, how can listeners connect with you or follow you on your journey? Shout out your socials and things like that. Come on, because you already know you come out with the content all the time.
Find me.
So let them know what's good.
Yes, find me at Yams con Mango. Why Yams con Mango? Because I'm very Afro-fluented. I'm an Afro-Latina.
Spell it for them.
Yes. Y-A-M. It's pretty long. Y-A-M-Z Yams con C-O-N Mango. M-A-N-G-U. Mango is the Dominican dish. It's plátano mashed up with butter and milk. It's a staple in our community.
And that's the name across all the different
platforms.
Channels.
At me, DM me. Always need a friend. Love y'all. Love y'all.
All right, Yami, thank you so much for joining today and sharing your story and further adding to the purpose of the show, that to bridge that gap, that socioeconomic gap between the Affluent Acres side and the tough terrain side, and the living example of no matter what side of the fence that you grew up on, we are all more alike than we think. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. And if you like this episode, please be sure to check out the other previous episodes on your favorite podcast streaming platform, Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever your personal favorite is. And if you're on YouTube, please be sure to check us out there as well. And if you're on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be the first to be notified when the latest episode drops. And again, no matter what side of the fence you grew up on, we're all more alike than we think. My name's Andre Sproul. Catch you guys next time.